Now, there are already mutterings of a Labour rebellion within the ranks to get rid of Keir Starmer. They're fed up with him. They know he's toxic. They know that they can't win the next general election with him leading them. The guy is soaked in corruption, scandal, sleaze. And now this fact right here regarding the Southport trial, the whole case, should tip the scales over and get those MPs to get their asses in gear and rebel, get rid of him. Because as we learned yesterday, it turns out Keir Starmer knew everything. Now, the Southport murderer weirdly went not guilty, then he went with no plea, and then all of a sudden at the last minute he pled guilty. And not guilty to a few things, but to everything, all 16 charges. And it's good in one way because then the families of the victims don't have to relive that horrible day for between a 4 to 6 week trial. However, saying that, we won't know everything now, will we? Now, I know his sentencing is on Thursday, and the judge does usually reveal all the facts before a sentence is pronounced, but it won't be everything. Remember, the defence have disputed some of the evidence produced by the prosecution, so the judge may or may not mention it. But regarding his sentence, due to a loophole, he won't face a full term behind bars because he was 17 when he committed the crimes. So no doubt because of the ridiculously lenient British justice system, he'll be out after 20 years with a new identity, house, money, job, just like the Jamie Bulger murderers. I know, it's disgusting, right? But there we go, that's the British judiciary for you. It's a proper ass. And also, we won't know the full extent of Keir Starmer's involvement in the cover-up, but saying that, the buck does stop with him. And I'm saying that because it was revealed yesterday that the killer, Axel Rudebuchaner, had been referred to the Counter-Terrorism Service Prevent 3 times, and 3 times they did nothing. So when Starmer laid those flowers in Southport for 7 minutes before buggering off to appease and pander to the other community, he knew everything. He was expelled from school for having knives. He possessed an Al-Qaeda idiot's guide to terrorism. He researched acid attacks. He was obsessed with genocide and brutality and was known to the police. The police knew he was a risk. His school knew he was a risk. The intelligence services knew he was a risk. And his family knew he was a risk. And they didn't stop him. And the man whose sole job is to protect the people of this country, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, he knew he was a risk. He knew this from the start. Like someone said on X yesterday, he threw some flowers on the pavement at Southport and then went to grovel to Islamists and gave them £117 million of taxpayers' money to protect their places of worship. I mean, this is probably the mother of all scandals involving a British Prime Minister in recent times. I think this even trumps the weapons of mass destruction lie given to us by Tony Blair, don't you think? The Speaker of the House of Commons deny MPs their right, especially Reform, and Nigel Farage to ask questions about this. No one was allowed to talk about it, despite knowing the truth, the horrible, awful truth. Keir Starmer quite literally gaslit the whole nation into believing it was nothing to do with Islamic terrorism, and he went on to blame the far right. He imprisoned people. Local authorities imprisoned people at his behest for correctly speculating what the murderer really was. And he was an Islamic terrorist. It's that simple. He was a scumbag driven by the terrorist ideology, and 3 innocent little girls died for it. And to cover this up to save his career, I think it's the worst thing ever, isn't it? What a scumbag, the pair of them. Now, saying all that, if people are in prison for speculating that the Southport incident was a terror attack, shouldn't they be released? I think so. And if this fact doesn't tip the scales into making Keir Starmer resign, then I think we're all screwed for the next 5 years, aren't we? So any Labour rebels watching or listening to this, get your asses in gear and do something for heaven's sake. Because the guy's going to drag you all down with him. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. And that's that. I'm Paz49. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And you like what I say. And I'll catch you at the next one. Roger Trout.